How could all this have happened to him? Alexey did not understand. I didn't understand why. Fate had treated him so unfairly. He has been an obedient boy since childhood. He dreamed of continuing the work of his father, grandfather and great-grandfather. Become a military man, just like them. Defend your homeland from enemies and troubles. Neither father nor grandfather had been in this world for a long time. They lived together with their mother, a primary school teacher, in a small communal apartment. Mom worked hard to ensure that he had everything and was no worse than other children. They had a special bond with their mother, they understood and felt each other from a distance, and finally, he graduated from military school and became an officer. Mom was proud of her handsome son, and now he is lying with this torn blanket over his head on a bed made of old boards, staring at the dark ceiling. Alexey recalled everything that had happened to him up to that moment and could not believe that all this was happening in reality. He is a former officer who has become useless to anyone, living off odd jobs and receiving a meager pension. A hut in an old, abandoned house, with rotten floors and broken windows, covered with old film. Once he had a family, a beloved wife, a daughter and a job. He was needed, he was respected by his fellow colleagues, and his mother doted on him. The man traveled a lot to hot spots, performing combat missions there. He was a good commander for his subordinates, but everything changed overnight. In an instant his life was divided into yes and after. On one secret mission, a shell hit the house where his squad was hiding. All the guys died, but he was the only one left alive. Alexey lost consciousness and was shell-shocked. At that moment, a fire started, which severely disfigured his face and body. When they found him, they thought he was dead. The family was urgently informed. The mother could not withstand such a blow and died of a heart attack a few days later. She didn't even find out that her son was alive, but he became almost unrecognizable. Alexey always felt that his wife had never loved him and married him because he could provide her with a comfortable life, and now, in a difficult moment for him, he was convinced of this. Reliably, the man noticed how she fastidiously removed her hand when he wanted to touch her with his palm. He needed the support of a loved one right now. His wife tried not to look at him and began to hide her daughter, fearing that she would be afraid of her father. The moment came when his wife simply disappeared from his life without any explanation. After he was discharged from the hospital, he came to his house and watched his wife and daughter from afar. Even so, it was as if he was next to them. One day Alexey saw his wife enter the entrance with a respectable man and a huge bouquet of roses. She was happy. She laughed all the time and fixed her hair. Since then, the man has stopped coming to the house. He no longer had a family. His family started a new life without him. There was no place in it for a freak like him. Alexey got on the train and drove wherever his eyes looked. I got off at the first station I came across and wandered along a path that led into a small forest. So he wandered to a small village, on the outskirts of which he saw an abandoned house with boarded-up windows. This house became his temporary shelter. Apparently, the owners died, and the heirs did not need such wealth. Lyosha, as best he could, began to improve his new home. What people threw away as unnecessary in the landfill, he picked up and put in order. His hands were golden, and the time he spent restoring old things distracted him from sad thoughts. So he got a bed, a table, 2 chairs, an old armchair and even a shelf. He managed to find and repair an electric stove, and there were plenty of pots, kettles and other kitchen utensils in the house. The owner of the local shop turned out to be a former Afghan, but he felt sorry for Alexey and allowed him to work as a loader. He worked mostly at night. People were scared of his appearance. One day, a large batch of goods arrived. Alexey had to work during the day with his drunken partner Vanka, who had not knitted since morning. In the corner in the back room there was a dusty bag that Vanka had brought in the morning and thrown. The bag periodically moved and whined. "What do you have there?" Alexey asked and went to the corner. "The puppy is there alone. I will arrange a Titanic for him today." "I mean, are you going to drown?" Alexey's eyes widened. "Yes, our female, husky, got him from a wolf. Such an infection ran into the forest all summer. So I brought a present. It's good to have at least one, and not a whole brood," and Vanka spat viciously right on the floor next to the bag. "Who are you?" Alexey asked him. "You bastard, who are you, Lord, to decide who lives and who dies? Yes, you know what life is, and how fragile and thin it is, like a gossamer in the wind. It just was, and now it's gone. Who gave you the right to take away a living soul with your life?" He grabbed Vanka by the breasts and pressed him against the wall, but he only fluttered like an autumn leaf in Alexey's strong arms and gasped for air. So Alexey got his own puppy of incredible beauty with sky-blue eyes. In the old house, they began to share a small food supply, a makeshift bed and an old blanket together. That's how these two lonely souls found each other. From the very first minute of acquaintance, an invisible thread stretched between them. They understood each other perfectly. The baby puppy, as Alexey called him, felt his master's mood well and perfectly followed his commands. He grew up pretty fast and gained weight. Alexey has a meaning in life. There was a living being in the world who loved him immensely, no matter what. Despite his terrible appearance and squalid home, a meager pension and the same earnings. In their old, abandoned house, love, friendship and warmth reigned, so necessary for all living things in our cruel world. Only one thing surprised Alexey. Every evening the puppy was sniffing out something in the far corner of the big room which they lived in. It seemed to the animal that there was something hidden in this corner. The baby felt warm under the floor. Alexey sometimes had terrible thoughts. Maybe there were traces of some terrible crime hidden there, but he pushed these thoughts away from himself and did not allow the wolf to even come close to this sinister corner. One night, when the man fell into a heavy sleep, the baby could not stand it and rushed there, to a forbidden place. With his nose and paws he tore up the rotten boards of the old floorboards mixed with the earth. Above her pit lay a bag wrapped in old canvas rags. The kid took it out and brought it to his master. Alexey saw a large cross on a chain studded with emeralds and rubies when he unwrapped these half-limp rags. It is unknown how such a rarity turned out to be in this abandoned house. After some time, a very attractive man appeared in a small town on the Black Sea coast. Tall, slender, with gray streaks in his dark hair. With him was a gorgeous handsome dog of unknown breed with blue eyes. In the morning and evening, when it was not so hot, this mysterious couple went to the sea. They swam and frolicked in the cool water for a long time. During the day, they could be seen at the market, where they went to buy fresh vegetables and fruits, meat and fish. It was obvious that they did not deny themselves anything. They walked everywhere, in the park among the flower beds with luxurious roses and on the embankment among vacationers, or just sat in the courtyard under a huge chestnut tree. Alexey had to go through several surgeries, and the baby was waiting for him faithfully, living with the owner of the shop, the one in which Alexey found his friend, on the floor in a bag. Between operations, Alexey was looking for a place where he and the dog could settle permanently, made out the purchase and documents for a house near the Black Sea coast. Having collected all their small possessions, Alexey and the kid moved to a new place. After all, they had a long and happy life ahead of them.